CBS 2 investigators uncover a $3 billion problem. Your grandparents getting ripped off.
As Pam Zachman reports, seniors suffering from dementia are getting fleeced out of their money, often by someone they know.
He had lung cancer and he had advanced dementia.
That's what Paul Barnett's uncle, Ollie Smith, was facing as he neared the end of his life.
It's up to the infantry.
After fighting in the Korean War, Ollie settled in this Park Manor home, later collecting a nice pension from his days working at CPS.
$4,200 a month.
Paul says this man, Robert Griffin, was his uncle's friend and would help him out from time to time.
Mow the lawn and shovel the snow and go to the store.
When Uncle Ollie recently died, Paul took possession of the estate and noticed suspicious activity on a bank account he shared with his uncle.
There were a lot of checks for cash for $5,000 just written out for cash.
By Paul's analysis, the checks in question totaled more than $100,000, all signed Ollie Smith. But Paul says his uncle's friend, Robert Griffin, told him he signed Ollie Smith's name on the checks, even though he didn't have power of attorney. Griffin would not talk to us on camera, but did say twice during phone conversations that he signed the checks in question using the name Ollie Smith. What about all those checks to the bank, the cap for cash to the bank? He told you to sign his name? Griffin claims that Ollie asked him to sign the checks because he no longer could, and he claims he used the money to pay bills for Ollie, but can't provide a detailed accounting of the funds. And there's this veterans insurance policy for $10,000. The beneficiary changed to Robert Griffin, signed by Ollie Smith. But after Paul objected, the VA ruled the signature was a forgery and gave the money to Paul. The Veterans Administration has determined that that was a forgery. It was not his signature. Again, Robert Griffin claims Ollie told him to sign his name. Do you think that he took advantage of your uncle and his dementia?
Oh yes, definitely. It's called undue influence.
To make matters worse, Paul Barnett's name was on his uncle's account at Hyde Park Bank, but he was never notified of the large withdrawals for cash. A spokesman for Hyde Park Bank said they cannot comment on specific bank procedures, but they do take elderly financial abuse very seriously and provide training for their staff. How big a problem is this?
It's huge, and it's growing, and it continues to grow.
As Cook County Public Guardian, it's Charles Gobert's job to protect the money and property of those who can't do it themselves and have no one else to help.
Today, with the aging baby boomers, robbing older people, it's a lot easier than robbing banks, and it's where the money is today.
40% of the new cases in the Public Guardian's office involve financial theft of the elderly, like a recent case involving Symphony Nursing Home.
A worst case because of the top to bottom level of corruption.
Look at the signature. Does that look like your signature?
No.
Grace Watanabe suffers from dementia. According to a civil suit filed by the Public Guardian's office on Grace's behalf, staff members at the Symphony Nursing Home stole more than $700,000 by forging her name on some checks and accessing her ATM account.
They were really preying on her and trying to make her feel terrible about having money and not, sharing with them.
Does that make you angry?
Yeah, angry and just terribly disappointed.
And 96-year-old Nellie Bridgman, who also suffers from dementia, was allegedly fleeced out of $330,000 by this man, Nicholas Cherviacic, a priest at Nellie's church. Did you trust him?
I did. At first, I did. Because I figured if you can trust priests, who can you trust?
Cherviacic is charged with theft and is awaiting trial.
Well, he shouldn't have done that.
About half of the states in the U.S. have laws requiring banks to report suspected elder financial abuse. Illinois does not. The Public Guardian's office says such a law would help stop these types of cases much earlier on.
And every time it's been proposed, the bank lobbyists have knocked it down.
The Illinois Bankers Association says the industry treats the issue of financial exploitation extremely seriously, but is concerned about banks overly reporting on customers, which could lead to violating the customer's expectations of trust and privacy. Goldbert's concern remains on the victims who end up losing their money.
What do you think about people that will do this kind of thing to such a vulnerable group of people?
They're scum. They're also cowards. Don't pick on people with dementia and physical infirmities and who are vulnerable and who are alone.
The Chicago police confirmed that they are investigating the case involving Ollie Smith's money. A spokesperson for Symphony Residences says that upon learning about the incident with Grace Watanabe, they contacted law enforcement and are cooperating with the investigation. They added that the employees named in the Public Guardian suit no longer work there.